Yep, yep.
Rob's Arcade, where the games get played and the games get saved, so they can be played on another day. Rob's Arcade.
Yep, yep. All right. Here we go. Decided to change my clothes too. Put on some lounged clothes since it's nice and yeah, nice little evening here, nice late night. Go ahead and throw on some cool comfy clothes, kick back and just chill with you guys. Thank you for popping back in here to part two of this, like I like um, Monday show, this like May update, if you will. Um, just kind of getting through the first part of this month. And, I like to get in here with you guys from time to time and just kind of catch you up with what's going on in my life. Something I kind of started doing years ago when I stopped. Hey, there we go. Perfect. When I stopped drinking. Um, and I would do, like videos, I mean, for ages now on like comic book stuff and video games and whatnot. But when I stopped the whole alcohol consumption bit, I decided to get a lot more candid, a lot more open, my separation with everything that I go through. Some people don't really appreciate it too much. They like me to keep everything hush hush and quiet. Why would you put everything out there? Why would you talk about everything? I like to do this because people out there go through a lot, and life is hard, man. Life is tough. It's not always easy. Because a friend of mine just lost his dad. I know what that's like. I lost my dad a few years ago. Just as I was kind of going through like my separation, with my ex, and just like trying to figure all this out. Like what is all this? And then my, losing my dad and losing just a lot of things. Lost my job right after that. After just getting myself back on my feet and like reacquiring everything, and just it's tough, man. Life is hard, and I like to do this because if I can get through it, and if I can share a little bit of my strength with you guys, and it gives you a little bit of inspiration, helps you get through your day, then I think I've done what I need to do. And you know uh, all the more happy to be open and to share. Somebody I used to work with once said to me, and it was funny. I was just telling these stories about how, like, sometimes when I would walk home from work, people would want to just like beat me up. I'm not kidding. It happened like two or three times where I'd be walking home, and not like, excuse me here. Let me clear my throat. Thank you. Um, not just like walking home all tough and big and bad, and like I'm pushing trash cans over and like, who wants to start something with me, huh? You're a tough guy, or like looking at people or like flicking people. I'm walking home, minding my own business. One guy wanted to beat me up because I had crossed into the street, but I was like in the median, like just kind of like hanging out there waiting for traffic to clear. And he was turning left, and so he was like trying to like wave me on, like, go ahead, you know, go across traffic. And I'm like, dude, there's two lanes of through traffic coming up behind you. Like, yeah, you might be turning. I appreciate you letting me go, but I can't cross the street right now anyway. So just go ahead, make your turn. I appreciate you. And I was just waving him on. This dude mean mugged me. He got out of his car, was like throwing hands. I mean, it was like just like not like throwing punches, but like kind of like throwing his hands up at me, and then he like got out of his car, and I was just like, what is going on? His buddy literally got, I thought his buddy was going to get out and like try to beat me up too. I was like, oh shit, here I go. Um, but his buddy got him back in the car and they drove off, and I was like, that is crazy. But like it would happen. It would just people would just try to beat me up all the time walking home from wherever, walking home from work or going to the gym or just going to the store or whatever. So I was telling the story, and this lady I worked with was like, "Oh, that's so crazy," and like, "I will hope you on your way home, nobody tries to beat you up," and da da da. And um, I said something about like, well, it happens all the time, kind of a thing, and I'm used to that kind of a thing, and just like how life can be. And she said something really special. She goes, maybe these things happen to you because you can take it. And I mean, it made me almost tear up. It was like such a sweet simple thing to say, but like almost like, Robert, there's a strength in the fact that you can absorb that. It really is. Like, I talk about comics and I talk about, Star Wars, and I talk about all these goofy, silly things. But it really is that whole mentality, like that Bruce Campbell Evil Dead mentality, where it's like, the house is possessed, there's a demon in the basement, you just lost your hand, throw a chainsaw on it, grab a shotgun, and let's get to work. Like, how many movies have we seen where like the very first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is like that is like the whole essence of the character right there. And that end scene where the goblin is just punching him and punching him and punching him, but he's just relentlessly being beat down and blown up and kicked, and everything he tries to do is just being met with, the goblin's madness, to a point where finally he just looks at him and it's just like, you know, I can do, like, like Captain, I can do this all day, man. It's just like, these guys, they take a punch and they get up and they keep going. Um, and there's something to be taken away. Like, yeah, I read comics. I've read comics for 30 years. I spent the last video talking a lot about going back to the comic shop this month and everything. But there's something in those books. There's a value to those stories. I know a lot of people might go to church. A lot of people just read different religious books. Some people aren't very religious. Maybe they're spiritual. They read a lot of different books, a lot of different religious philosophy, and they try to absorb and take away different bits and pieces. Whatever your faith is, whatever gives you inspiration to get through your day, it's important to have something. And I mean, as silly as it sounds, like, for me, it's the comic books. Like, I talk about the Black Panther and Spider-Man and all these characters, and I mean, and these are characters that they take a beating, they get up, and they keep going. And sometimes it's not just as simple too as, like, the Black Panther is a great character, and I think the main piece is that he has to fight for equality, being a black superhero in a predominantly white superhero world. And I think that's still relevant to this day. I don't think that changed from the time that character was created until the last issue of that book has been put out on the shelves to this day itself. I think it's still a very valid point, a very, like, serious piece of that book. But there's so many layers. Like, Black Panther's a character that not only has to fight for, like, equality just in the world of being a minority, but also, like, even within the realm of being a superhero. Like, even though he's an Avenger, like, he has to fight for his place as an Avenger, just because of his nationality and, like, where he's from and his background. And then even within his own country, within Africa itself, like, Wakanda is a country that constantly has to fight for equality and has to fight for a place in the world. And then even within his country, he has to fight most oftentimes to find a place within his own political house. I mean, like, there's so many times where he's like, he has to prove himself time and time again. It's like he proves himself to the world. Okay, well, I have to prove myself to Wakanda. Okay, well, now I have to prove myself to my family. I have to prove myself to my friends, to my people. And it never, ever, ever stops. And I think, like I said, there's something to be taken away from in all of those stories. But anyway, like I said, this is kind of like a whole month of May update. And like I said, there's a lot going on. We had Mother's Day, Dad's birthday. We had Revenge of the Fifth, Cinco de Mayo, May the 4th be with you, new comic book day. Just like the list goes on and on and on and on. Mom's got a birthday coming up this month too. I mean, it's just like, this is a Mayday, going down. Too much is happening. But yes, no, it's been a busy month. And, usually, like, I will take off of work to kick back and watch some Star Wars. I love watching Star Wars. I was talking about, like, comics and stuff. This might be a little bit of some Star Wars talk in this video here, because I do love the franchise. It's interesting, something that I've not always been into. I've told the whole story before about how it used to be, something I was into as a kid. I grew up with it. I'm old enough that I remember Star Wars actually being out in the theater when I was still a kid. But it wasn't something like I was like, oh man, I grew up with it. I like the Ewoks basically for a long time. But the long and short of it really is, there was a kid I used to know. We used to hang out, play all the time, GI Joes, things like that. Nothing mattered. Vehicles, guns, interchangeable, backpacks, whatever. This could be a good guy. He can be a bad guy. When it came to the Star Wars figures, man, this kid was like really uptight for some reason, and just it wasn't fun. Like I remember getting into like not really arguments, but like he would get all like, no, 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 like he would like, stop, that doesn't go there, that doesn't do that, that guy doesn't hold that gun, and he's a whatever, and that Jawas don't do that. I'm just like, oh my god, all right. And then he even had like a carrying case, and all the figures had to go into like a certain space, and I don't know. I just remember at one point being like, just, and I didn't even know. I was like 8 years old, maybe. But it was like, fuck Star Wars, fuck these figures, fuck Benji. Like, I don't care. Like, just, this is stupid. So, like, from then on out, I just really didn't care about Star Wars. And then I finally got back into it. But then, since then, it's been like one of those things where, I mean, when it first, we had like what, three movies, and that was amazing, right? And then it did like these remasters, which I don't really appreciate the remasters so much, the special editions. Like, leave the movies alone, George. Okay, like they were done. I wanted to do more like taunt. Like, shut up. All right, just leave them the way they were. They're fine. But then we got the prequels, and that was kind of cool. So then we had like six Star Wars movies, right? And then like that was amazing. We're like, oh my god, we got more Star Wars after like 30 years. And then all of a sudden, there was like a Clone Wars. Well, they had the Clone Wars movie, and then they did like the little shorts on Cartoon Network. But really, like the only time you could get more Star Wars stories was when like you would play the video games. You could read books. They had a lot of paperback books and stuff like that, where you could read all these different like adventures of the original stories and characters, like the in-betweens, the stuff they mentioned. The little battles and things that they mentioned in the movies that we never got to see. You had some comic books and things like that, but really like the stories that I remember getting more information from were playing like the 64 and the GameCube video. I guess it wasn't really so much the 64, but more like the GameCube games, some of the PlayStation 2 video games, and they were coming out around the time of the prequels and kind of giving you some of that insight. Like you could play like a bounty hunter game, Starfighter I think was another one, and it kind of gave you some stories and some bits and pieces, like showing you what Count Dooku was up to. But now it's like, gosh, you got well, three more movies into the original piece. Then you've got the two standalones. Mandalorian Grogu got a movie coming out, plus their show, plus all the other show. I mean, there's just like so much right now. Clone Wars, Maul, animated Bad Batch animated series. Like it's just, it goes on and on and on. So I really get into it now. I really get excited whenever it comes out. With a new show or a new series, and then anytime you get to revisit, you've got like so many different things. Like I do a sci-fi September, so that's a great time to kind of do like a whole rewatch. And then some people will celebrate like original release dates for the original trilogy and do like whole rewatches and marathons. And then of course you have the May the 4th, kind of is like its own like little holiday now, where I mean like it started really on Friday, like May 1st is like, that Friday going into that Monday, the 4th. And it's like, man, yeah, why not? Why not start kicking it off on that weekend and really, really jump into it? And then to make light of the situation, and I was kind of making this joke even as I was going through it, like I said, I was let go from my job on the 1st. So I didn't need to take off. I didn't need to. Oh wow, that's just crazy. Somebody's messaging me right now. I didn't need to take off. I didn't need to like do any special planning. The world saw fit that I. Oh, hold on one second. Just people are like, it's crazy. So this is like what I was going to get into. People, it's like shattered the community, man. So, like what sucks is like, why I wanted to put this out. This isn't like bashing the why or anything like that. That's not what this point of this video is, because I don't like You know, I love that place. I wouldn't hold any ill will towards them. But like I think I was kind of getting into this in my last video, and kind of mentioning this, and like the fact that like, you know, at the end of our conversation, I kind of like almost like not really like it wasn't like a warning or a threat or anything like that, but it was like a genuine like, you guys need to be aware. Um, if you want to consider it a warning, a warning in the most considerate and gracious meaning, that a genuine care, like you guys, there's going to be a backlash, like there's going to be a climate change, there is going to be a temperature change within the front end, within the membership staff, within the community, within the members, within everybody, within the staff in general. Like you need to prepare. And it has been insanely overwhelming, like the amount of like feedback, support, just the outreach that I've gotten every day has been like a hour long conversation with a different former staff of mine, confused, lost, outraged, other full-time staff reaching out, what's going on, what's happening with all this is insane, this doesn't make any sense, this doesn't add up, what are they doing, what's it like, such a members have been reaching out to me via, I just literally, that's what I was just doing. I was like, what's going, so one just texted me just now, hey, what's up, I just heard you're not at the Y anymore, are you okay, like what's going on, like an older lady just reached out to me through Facebook. And what breaks my heart, and like why I guess I'm just being open with this, is, they're not letting people know what's going on. Everybody thinks like I stepped away and I walked away or I quit or I found something else, and everybody's so confused because of how much I did love that place. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would he do that? Like, doesn't. And so it really breaks my heart. There was one young lady who works there who thought I quit, and when she found out that I quit, quote unquote, um, she had to take a few extra minutes before going back to work. Like her supervisor was like, "Yeah, sorry," and she's like, "No, no, hold it. Like, you need to give me a minute." Like, and like kind of like walked away, sat by herself, cried for a little bit, and was just like, "What is going on in this place? Like, this does not make any sense. Why would he do this? Why would he just quit?" You know. And I get it. Me and this girl have a very strong history. I've helped with a lot of different programs, um, and she as well. And like we bonded over summer camp. We go back a couple of years now. Like we got a strong history, this girl and I, and it broke her heart. And then, luckily, one of our friends who also works there got her the right information. Like, no, he didn't quit. He was let go. And she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, all right, well, she's like, that makes kind of more sense, but still doesn't make any sense at all. But like, it's crazy. Like people are like, like in tears. They're upset. I've had people call me. They can't get into classes. They can't. One guy's coming, he's like, I need you to do my membership. And it's funny because like, some of it's sweet and some of it's great. Like, but I don't miss some of it because some of it is like this built this culture of like, can you do this for me? And I'm like, I've literally got people like calling me like, hey, can you activate my account? And I'm like, dude, you can do this. Like, you can just go online and just go and like do this yourself. But like, that's the amount of support and like just how good I am at what I do, that even, on and off the clock, excuse me, I'm willing to like help out. But I was like, dude, yeah, I don't work there anymore, man. Like I can, like, I would just go online and just go do it now. Um, it's free this month, and I'm still like promoting memberships and doing things like that as I'm not even working there anymore. But like and it's every day it's another conversation. Like I just talked to another former employee yesterday for like about an hour or so. I've gotten lunch and hung out, and just it's wild. Almost to the point too where like I'll be out and about walking around doing something, going to get coffee at Starbucks and walking out, and There's like kids banging on the car glass, like, "Hey, Mister, Robert," and it's insane. The like, and I said that would be like I knew it would be. I was like, there's going to be a huge climate change. This is going to upset a lot of people, and I was really aware of that. But it's been very insane to me now, even going through this and seeing it firsthand. Like it's been about 2 weeks, and it's been about 2 weeks of like a little bit of turmoil in my life. It's a little bit upside down. Don't worry, I've already think I found something else. I think I'm good. Like I don't, I usually land on my feet. Again, I'm the one who can take the punch. And something happened. I've had a few conversations, and somebody said something, and then somebody else said something very similar, and it's kind of been like this the same consensus is that I have this gift to share, and it's like, hey man, look, you know, you did it there for a little while. You've you've got to go other places. You've got to keep moving. You've got to keep going different places. You've got to keep sharing this thing that you do with everybody. Um, and it's kind of opened up a few other ideas and a few other things, even with this own my own little channel here, and like some of the stuff that I've been thinking about, like how do I tap that energy more into even this and what I'm doing with all of this here. But like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right. Typically, like I said, I'll figure something out, and I think I already have. But the effect that this has had on the community, like I said, I knew, like I made the statement to be aware, was it not be aware, be prepared from Lion King. Um, be prepared. It's going to change. Like it's going to change the climate. It's going to change the attitudes. It's going to happen. And I called that, and I knew it would to a degree. But to the degree that it has, and I mean, it's like in like there as it's each day goes on, like something else, like there's like another fire, like, and then like all of a sudden they're just like standing there, and then the printer starts sparking, and there's like explodes with like a little small fire, and then the pencil sharpener catches fire too, and it's just like there's like little things just like pop, almost like it's like haunted, like a little scene from like Ghostbusters, and things are just popping and sparking and flying around the room and smashing into the wall. And like summer camp hasn't started yet. They do a whole like back to school thing that hasn't even started yet, and it's kind of scary. It's almost like a blessing in disguise. Um, but the um, the details of it, the twisty ins and outs of it, almost feel like something out of a freaking like Captain America plot. And as I've explained it to people, they're like, "Oh my God, Robert, it really is." And going into this, like I said, I'm like curious to see what my legal standpoint is on some of this. Um, but it's interesting to me, like when I first started going through some of this, and I was like, man, I think I might have like a legal leg to. I stepped on my mic cord there a little bit, messed that up, but there we go. Um, like I said, first started going through this, I said, I might have a legal leg to stand on with this. Like, I'm not really sure what this looks like, and I know, it who doesn't get terminated and go like, I'm gonna sue, right? Like I think everybody has a sort of similar reaction, but um, the more, like I said, I talk to people about this, and they look at things, they're just like, this is weird, this is fishy, and this wouldn't go on at another company, and this wouldn't happen. Like, my brother or my sister, or my son works for this place, and they work for this place, and I talked to them about this because this sounds weird to me, and they said, no, 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 that wouldn't happen here, and it's all very bizarre, and kind of came out of like left field, and again, just kind of makes me feel like I woke up in some kind of Captain America plot where it's like I got to put on a baseball cap and a pair of sunglasses and go on the run with the Black Widow and try to you know keep the name clean of Captain America, while at the same time, like Hydra is trying to not only soil my name, but then also move into my spot. And, all of Shield breaks down. The whole Shield agents and facility, that whole thing crumbles and falls apart. It's just like, what is going on in my life right now? It's just like, it's absolutely insane. And it started off just as like a normal week. And then by, that Friday, the first of the month, everything had been kind of, flipped upside down. But, at the end of the day, like if I, you know, lose my job for caring too much or caring about people who I thought were my friends and all of that, then I've always been fine with that. I've always been the person who's going to put um, my friends and those people before myself, and that's kind of what makes me stand out um, as the neighborhood Spider-Man, and that's why I'm hoping to try to get something and keep something in the community, because I want my people to know like this. I'm still here, I'm still around, and I say that, and it sounds funny, my people, but I do. I feel like this is my like I am their neighbor friendlyhood, Spider-Man. Like this is I feel a sense of um, like a need to not not be like worshipped by like my like to protect these people. Like these are my people, man. Like this is like these are the people I want to protect. Like that's not to say like I want them to follow me or to look up to me as a hero or an icon, but I take on that power and that responsibility to look after them. But anyway, thanks for hanging out and help look after me. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Like I said, man, drop those likes, shares. Make sure you leave a comment down below. If you're not a subscriber, first time here, please do. We're gonna have some cool stuff coming up. Speaking of comics and all that, I'm gonna start doing a run on some Marvel video games. I got a bunch of those to kind of go through, so keep an eye out for those, and then keep an eye out for some like Marvel, DC, just comic book talks in general. More of that on this channel as well. All right, guys. Well, until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and don't spend that quarter anywhere else. See you later.